Hey y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion. Hopefully you saw my note that I was going to get a post out, and I am getting a post out. And I'll tell you this, y'all, this post that I'm putting out a little bit after noon Eastern time on Saturday for Saturday is very different in some ways than what I would have posted last night. Now, last night, Friday night, I was tired, and I also didn't feel inspired. There was just nothing. I looked at the psalm. I had an idea based on where I was Friday night. I was going to try to connect some things together, but it just wasn't coming. And I really want you to know here, y'all, in my commitment to post every day with the psalms, I'm not going to just put it out to put it out, right? I want there to be something meaningful to say, something that I believe in, something I think that you will appreciate and perhaps benefit from as well. I don't know, but that is always my hope. So, a very different post today in light of current events. But let's begin as we always begin by recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more and each other. So, I need to say this, y'all. Let me start with where I was going to start, and then I'm going to transition, and then I'm going to get angry. All right. But I'm going to start where I would have started last night, which is talking about the Columbus Fury volleyball team. I've talked about them here before. It is a professional women's league. It's a small league. I think there's only 8 teams. Our team is not the best. The Fury are in second to last. And the game last night was a short one. You might know in volleyball, it's best out of 5 sets. And well, Columbus collapsed in 3 sets. So it was about 90 minutes. But it was a blast, in part because it was mascot night. And I haven't necessarily shared this here, and this is true. And I shared it with my wife last night, and she actually was a little surprised, but maybe she just wasn't paying attention, or maybe I wasn't being clear. I really dig mascots. I think mascots are just cool because of the symbolism, right? Here's a team, here's an organization, putting a company, whatever it might be, putting into a physical character, 3-dimensional, in a costume, many times, character that says this is what we believe represents us. Well, until last night, the Columbus Fury did not have a mascot. And then they announced one last night. It was really very funny. And to welcome the mascot, they brought out many other mascots from local here in Columbus, from Cincinnati. A couple Cleveland mascots came down. It was pretty cool. There was about 15 or 20 mascots. And I took a video. They did a little halftime. There's no halftime in volleyball, but between the second and third sets, there's a longer break. And they did a little dance, and Brutus Buckeye did a very strange, very odd looking worm on the floor. But I will put this out a little bit later to share that with you. But here's the thing, y'all. The mascot for the Columbus Fury, and I'm going to share her picture here in the notes. I might share it actually in the chat here as well. Maybe it will be my photo for the day. I don't know. Got to keep this lighthearted because, yeah, there's the angry piece that's still coming here, y'all. And her name is Lumi, which I think is a pretty cool name. And you can see she is, as far as I can tell, a lightning bug. And they really nailed the costume. I mean, every detail of this costume was well thought out and I think well articulated. And I really look forward to seeing Lumi at the next game that we go to. My wife and I have 5 tickets this year. We bought a little season ticket pack. And the photo that I'm going to post here has Lumi and my other favorite local mascot, which is Crew Cat from the Columbus Crew. Well, here's what I was going to talk about last night. I was going to talk about all that, but I was also going to talk about this. And they gave out shirts last night, Unleash the Fury, right? Unleash the Fury. And that's, again, Fury, of course, has to do with the Furies of Greek myth, legend, the women, these warrior kind of women. And of course, Fury is an adjective, right? And that's what I was going to talk about last night, about this idea of unleash the fury, right? Wondering how, and you may remember if you follow me here, I talked a few weeks ago about where's the fury, right? I was at a Fury game and I was thinking, where's the fury? Where's the anger that people have as we look at our nation and we look at the continuing insanity, right? And since then, I recorded that a few weeks ago, I mean, there's only more things that we must, I think, have a moral responsibility to be angry about, to be furious about, right? So where's the fury, right? And I was going to say, again, before today, what what we need to do is make sure that as we approach the 2026 election, and we're under 250 days here, y'all, we need to be ready to be furious when the little dictator T Rump tries to stop those elections, and he will. He's already laying the groundwork for it. Experts are pointing this out. We need to be ready to take everything that we've done, every protest we've been to, not be violent. I'm never, ever talking about violence here, y'all. We need to follow what the people of Minneapolis have shown, and the people of Portland, the people of LA, the people of Chicago, who have shown what it takes to stand up nonviolently to this ultra now violent regime, right? We need to be ready to unleash the fury. All right, here's current events, y'all. And I'm going to keep this brief because I do want to get to the psalm. I do need to get out of the door here to go to work. I was horrified this morning to see that we have attacked in a terrorist act. Make no mistake about it, that this is a unilateral terrorist attack by the United States in partnership with the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world right now, Israel. And I don't want to get into the whole Israeli thing. We don't need to go there, right? But we have seen what Israeli military will do. And now in partnership with them, the United States is doing it to Iran. And you might have seen the school that was bombed this morning and the backpacks lined up of the kids, the children that were killed as their work week began and as they celebrate Ramadan, y'all. I mean, this is just so many layers of horror. But you want to know what made me really angry today and disappointed is that the name that they are calling this is Epic Fury. Yeah, that's the name. So they're co-opting our local volleyball team, which they obviously know nothing about or care about. You know, women's sports is, not on T-Rump's mind, but it is, that's the name we're going to be hearing, right? At least in the corporate media, at least in the propaganda, at least in the official circles. And that is just disgusting, right? And that is just disgusting. Well, that brings us to our psalm, and it is Psalm 59. And I'm only going to read part of it. It's kind of a long one. And I just want to pull part of this out to hear the contrast, right? The contrast between in the psalmist, what he or they are asking God to do to their enemies, and at the same time, what they're asking God to do for them. And it seems like such a double standard, right? And it's such a, my God against your God, and we're on the side of God, we're on the right. Here it is. So this is the middle part, verses 6 through, I think, 12. Each night after the sun sets, they return, this is the enemies, prowling the village pathways and howling like coyotes in the darkness. Look at the bitterness that pours out of their mouths. The words on their lips cut like long knives. They do not care who is listening. But grandfather, you laugh at them with scorn and treat the wayward nations with contempt. Oh, my great strength, I will keep watching you, for you, my creator and shelter from the storm. Creator, because your love stays true and never fades, you will come to help me, and I will watch as you defeat my enemies. Verse 11, do not kill them all at once. Use your power to make them stagger about and then take them down. This way, my people will not forget your power, O honored chief, our medicine shield. Let the evil words from their mouths, their curses and their lies they have spoken, trap them in their arrogance. Be angry and burn them to the ground. Leave nothing untouched, that they may be no more. This will make it known to the four corners of the earth that the Great Spirit rules over the descendants of heel grabber Jacob. Wow, y'all. Yeah, what a contrast, right? And I think what ignorance and small and selfish-minded faith the psalmist has here, right? We can look at this and we can say, yeah, this is human, and this is certainly an emotion. Yeah, I mean, people want to be retributive, right? I mean, that's a part of who we are. We want revenge. And we've heard that in the Psalms. But to my knowledge, this is taking it up a level higher, right? Do not kill them all at once. Use your power to make them stagger about, then take them down. Torture them, in other words. Make them suffer. Hurt them, and then destroy them. And then a couple of verses later, be angry and burn them to the ground, leave nothing untouched, that they will make it no more. And what's the reason for doing this, y'all? Is to show God's power. In that same verse, that's verse 13, I'm quoting, this will make it known to the four corners of the earth that the Great Spirit rules over the descendants of the heel grabber, which is Israel, right? Jacob, Israel, right? Yeah. So why is the psalmist saying to do this? Not just to, smite the enemies, get them out of the way, right? We've heard that before, but to show what a powerful God you are and to show whose side you are on, right? Y'all, this is still happening in Christianity today. The Christian nationalism is all about this, right? And there are Christian nationalists today who are applauding this, who are seeing the end of Iran and all of that as God ordained and blah, 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 blah. Well, I will say you this, y'all. The God of Christ, the God of Jesus, is on the same side, is on the side of every soldier in every war, is on the side of every country who is not this kind of God. The psalmist is wrong, and the people are wrong who are portraying this, especially people who claim to follow Jesus. And I underscore claim, because remember, y'all, we can claim to be anything we want, but unless our lives and our actions and our words and our hearts, Jesus was really concerned about hearts, and hearts show themselves in our actions and in our words, right? And unless our hearts show who our heart, unless our hearts follow and show love and compassion and kindness and no war, right? Then we're not followers of Christ, no matter what we say. All right, y'all. I could go on a long, long time, but I got to run. I got to post this. Got to get to work. Let's do the Serenity Prayer. I said this to a sponsee this morning. It's been a busy day so far, and I'll tell you more about something cool that I did this morning. I'll put that in tomorrow's post. But yeah, let's pray the Serenity Prayer, y'all. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not ours, O God, be done. All right, y'all, blessing and good. Be bold, be well, hold fast, y'all. Be furious. Be furious.